Hey everyone, welcome back to Money Mondays. Today we're going to talk about something super interesting, which is Robert Kiyosaki's Cashflow Quadrant, which is honestly one of the most fundamental concepts that completely allowed me to see finance in a totally different way. And it's from his very famous book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So let me go ahead and share my screen so we can talk about the cash flow quadrant. So, what's the aim of the game? The aim of the game is financial freedom, and it's like a journey. You start at point A and you get to point Z. You have to choose a vehicle to get there. The thing about vehicles are some are slower than others, some are faster than others, and the thing about it is we need to choose one that aligns with what our wishes are, and our wishes may be to get there. Um, our wishes may be to get there very fast. We might want to be rich and young, or we might want to continue to work in our job for a long period of time because we really like what we do, and that is also fine as well. Just make sure you're on one of the vehicles rather than not being on one at all. And so that leads into this little concept of the cash flow quadrant, popularized in the famous book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And effectively, these are the 4 ways in which you can earn a living and eventually become financially free. And the goal is to effectively take the money that you earn from one quadrant and put it in another, because then you're diversified and you're insured against as many outcomes as you possibly can be. So let's start on the left hand side. So employees, I beg your pardon. Employees is when you have a job. Obviously, you do your 9 to 5, you go to work, you earn a wage, you take it home, and you use that to sustain yourself, but also to do a little bit of investing. So effectively, the money that you're pulling from here ends up in here or in a business if you have another business as well. The point is to be in more than one of these quadrants at any one time, because then, like I say, you're insured against as many outcomes as possible, you're diversified, and diversified people are more robust in terms of being able to protect themselves against adverse scenarios. So employees are employed. Obviously, they work 9 to 5. You're always going to exchange time for money. Remember, if you're always exchanging time for money, you can never be financially free. So you must not stay here. You must take some of what you get here and begin to put it over here, because separating time from money is wealth. Being able to generate money without spending any time is wealth. That's effectively the whole point of a pension whenever we retire. But of course, we have to actually take positive steps towards that for that to actually occur. Next one on the cash flow quadrant, we have the self-employed. Now, self-employed is a bit of a funny one because you can be self-employed. Let's say that you're a tradesman or woman. You own your own job, because let's say you have your own company, you'll own your own job, but you still have to physically go to work to make money. So you're self-employed, but you own a job effectively. You're still exchanging time for money. So you still have to take some money and put it over here or put it in here. Now, being self-employed has a little bit of an aurora to it, has a little bit of an appeal to it, but actually is not the be all and end all, because even if you do have a decent job where you're self-employed and you're earning well, you still have to go to work to physically get some cash. So what that would mean is that when we get to old age and we're unable to work, or if we're stricken with ill health, what that would mean is we can't generate any cash unless we've actually invested it and grown it somehow. However, self-employed people, they do have a little bit more flexibility than employees. Don't get me wrong, it's a positive thing. But just because we're self-employed does not mean that we're necessarily wealthy. It means that it might mean we're a little further down the path, but we still have to think about how we can separate time from money. So the whole point is to take what you earn over here and put it over here. Or if you can, try to reside on the right-hand side of the screen. Try to become the person who owns a business or has invested enough capital so that they no longer need to work and therefore they're free. So right hand side of the screen, this is leverage. This is when you're magnifying 1 hour of input equals 10 hours of output. And there's 2 different methods that you can do that. You can either own a business or be an investor. So a business owner effectively has created a system which magnifies 1 hour of input and allows them to receive many hours of output because they've created a system. Now, there's 3 ways that you can do that. You can either have investments in your company, machinery, technology, blah, 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 which will mean that you can do that. If you have a digger that you've purchased to dig a hole, you can dig a hole way faster than you can by hand. You can also use people to magnify your input. So if you've got 10 employees under you and you get them to dig a hole versus you digging a hole on your own, then what that would mean is that you have 10 times as much time and effort. You can also use media to do this as well. So if you have like an online course, you create it, you get the word out there, 1 hour of your time that you spent creating the course, creating the content, whatever, is purchased by, the course is purchased by many thousands of people all across the world. So what that means is that 1 hour has been magnified by 1,000. That 1 hour of input has been magnified by 1,000, because all of a sudden you have all these people purchasing your course, your program. It has to be some combination of those three methods of leverage to own a business. Obviously, we could spend all day talking about how to create a business, of course, but fundamentally it has to be one of those things. So until we actually move over here and we create something like this, something that's more automated and means that actually we don't have to spend every day at work to make money, then we're only going to continue to reside over here on the left hand side of the screen until we get here. The fourth type of individual is the investor. You can put your money in an ISA, in something that compounds over time. Naturally, it's going to give you returns. Your money works for you. You can then live off that money when it hits a certain threshold, depending on your outgoings. And really, until we start thinking about either owning a business or even investing in businesses or investing in whatever chosen asset you've selected, then actually we're going to remain on the left-hand side of the screen. So we must go to the right-hand side of the screen if we want to be financially free, and it has to be one of these two methods. And you know what? Whenever someone says that to you, then what it means is that you understand that you have to go there through necessity rather than anything else. You can't stay over here. And all of a sudden, your focus is so much more clear, and you know where you have to go and you know where you have to put your energy. Because if you want to be financially free, these are the things that we have to do, we must do. Rich Dad Poor Dad, incredible book. It fleshes this out in even more detail. I love this book. I actually didn't read it until that long ago, even though I have got quite a lot of books under my belt. I'm just looking over my shoulder at my bookshelf. Probably read it way later in my financial journey than most people. If you're brand new to finance, definitely a great place you can start. It talks about investing, but it also talks about leverage and other ways that you can become wealthy. Basically, pay yourself first. You know, I'm reading The Richest Man in Babylon at the minute, and the lessons in there are absolutely insane. And there are things that have been true for many millennia, and they're still true today. Every single pound that you earn, make sure the pound grows more pounds for you. Make sure the pounds have children, and then reinvest the children. And that is the way that we should be looking at growing our wealth, rather than spending every single thing that we have. And pay yourself. Make sure that you contribute towards your investments first of all, before anything else, with a proportion of your income. Before you've even spent your money, consider whatever the remainder is to be your spending amount, not the amount that went in there in the first place, and then you'll go far. That's the beginning of the mindset that you need to become an investor. So this book is essential reading. I'd recommend it to everybody, and a whole host of other books that I have as well, but I really like this one in particular. Thank you so much, guys, for attending Money Mondays. I shall catch you all again next week.